Oh, hello there, I'm Bee, and welcome to Inside the Honeycomb. If you are here from my main channel, just under my name, Bee Haney, where we talk about YouTube drama and current events, thank you for joining me on my personal channel. I talked a few weeks ago about how once I hit 5,000 subscribers there, I figured, I don't know why, I made up arbitrarily in my head that that was going to be a good number for me to reach before I start a personal channel, and I reached it a few weeks ago, so here we are. And if you've never seen me before, hi, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. You are watching the very first video on my personal channel, Inside the Honeycomb. First, I want to go over what kind of the overall goal is for this channel and what kind of content you can expect to see here, and it really kind of boils down to two things. The first thing is that I want to show a little bit more about my life. Obviously, when we talk about YouTube drama and current events, sometimes I'll share personal anecdotes and stories from my life, but as far as what's actually going on in my life, it is very limited because we make it more about the broader concepts and what's happening with other people and what we can learn from it over there. Over here, we're going to focus a lot more on some of my favorite products, maybe some of my favorite recipes if you're interested in that, and kind of personal things that are happening. For example, I would consider myself to be a pretty introspective person, and so when things are happening or when things are going on, I'm always kind of thinking, what can we learn here? Like, what is the point of this? What is something I can take away from the situation? And so I know plenty of us right now are definitely in a space where we're just kind of waiting for a lot of things to happen. We're waiting to see when COVID will end. If you live in America, you're waiting to see what the election is going to turn out like. And so we're focusing on all of these very big scale things that we're waiting on. But I also feel like a lot of us have gone through these very personal periods of waiting in our own lives, whether it's for that promotion at work, or when you're finally going to feel ready to start a family, or once you finally reached a certain goal, whatever it may be. And I know that right now I am definitely going through a big period of waiting, and it has taught me a lot. So I've been thinking about sharing experiences like that because I think we could have some really cool conversations about different life lessons and just stuff like that in general. And then the second goal of this channel is to have a lot more involvement from you. I know on my main channel on Tuesdays, I typically post the more research-based videos, and they're a little bit deeper and more put together. And then on Thursdays, if there are any kind of more petty drama things going on, we'll get on a live stream and talk about that. So I really want to kind of bring that element of being able to engage with you and get to know you even more onto this channel. And so a lot of the video ideas that I have are going to be kind of call and response, and that's pretty much what this video is going to be. Now, a few weeks ago I had made a post on Twitter about how at some point I was going to post a video talking about my cancelable traits or my unpopular opinions and trying weird hard seltzer flavors. And one of you suggested that I do a pumpkin spice seltzer because you heard that it was a thing. I said I was down. I looked into it, and it turns out that they only sell them in like Kentucky, Tennessee, and Ohio, I think, like one other state, and only one company from what I was able to find makes them. So while I am going to be sharing with you some of my most unpopular opinions today, I do not have the pumpkin spice seltzer, but I have this. It's just an apple ale. I was gonna try and find something that had like a crazy flavor or a weird flavor just to make it funny, but instead, like, I'm a sucker for sentimentality, and I saw that the name of this was Gumption Hard Cider, and then on the back it says, legendary oh wait, this is full. I almost spilled it. It'll be fine. I'll just hold it up. It says, legendary showman P.T. Barnum once noted, everybody drank cider spirits called gumption. Gumption celebrates the spirit of P.T. Barnum and those with the gumption to follow their own path. We pair the juice of common eating apples with dry cider apples to bring you a bold and unique drinking experience. Enjoy. And so I thought that the fact that it was named after P.T. Barnum, and it kind of talks about having the gumption or the gall or the drive to follow your own path and do your own thing and kind of make a name for yourself regardless of what other people say or want you to do. I don't know. I think that's cool. Like I said, I'm a sentimental sucker. This is your first time watching me, you should know I cry like 10 times a day, and I'm okay with it. It's pretty good. So now let's go ahead and get into my unpopular opinions. Some of them are serious, some of them are goofy. All of them are merely my opinion, and if you disagree, that is completely fine because you are your own person and you have a right to have your own opinion about whatever you want. Also, after the video is over, I want you to leave your most unpopular opinion down in the comment section below so that way I can collect them, read them, and respond to them in another video. Alright, let's just go ahead and get this first one out of the way because I have a feeling it's gonna get me crucified, and that is that ranch dressing is a literal abomination. It is quite literally one of the grossest things I have smelled, seen, or tasted in this lifetime. And at this point in my life, I do not eat dairy, but even if I did, I could confidently say I would never eat ranch ever again for as long as I live. Moving on though. While I don't do it myself, I do understand why some women do it, and I don't have a problem with them doing it. I don't mind when girls or women call their boyfriends, husbands, male partners, whoever, daddy. I can see why they do it, and I don't think it's weird. I do call my husband Papa or Papa Bear though, so maybe I'm the weird one and I'm lumped in with them, but in any case, it doesn't really bother me when people do that. Next one. I am sorry to all of my Texas people, but Whataburger is just not great. It's just not that good. It's not terrible. It's not the worst thing I've ever had, but it's just not that good. And In-N-Out is infinitely better. I wish In-N-Out Burger had like onion rings. They had just a little bit more variety, but I love the simplicity of their menu, that they have a few things on their menu and they do those few things well. I've never had a bad burger from In-N-Out. It's always been like, that was good. So In-N-Out, it's just better than Whataburger. I'm sorry, but somebody had to say it. Next one. Star Wars episodes 4, 5, and 6 are obviously the best. They're the greatest of all time, but the prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3, are far better than the most recent episodes that they added to the storyline. Maybe I feel this way because I was a kid when episodes 1, 2, and 3 came out. I got to go see them in the theaters. I dressed up as Qui-Gon Jinn for my 6th birthday party, which was a Star Wars themed birthday party, and it's one of the best memories from my childhood. So that could play a big part in it, but honestly, the new Star Wars, I don't get the hype. I will say Adam Driver made a good Kylo Ren. I'll give him that. Like, the acting is fine, but as far as the movies as a whole, you ask me if I'm gonna take them or leave them, I'll leave them and I'll watch 1, 2, and 3 instead. Even with Jar Jar Binks, even with the Gungans, I'll still take them. Okay, so this next one. Marriage is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people, and it's a very personal decision. And it's a very personal matter, and people can get very sensitive about your opinions on their marriage. So again, keep in mind, this is just my opinion. If you disagree, it's fine. But I think you and your spouse should have the same last name. I don't care if you pick a new last name together. I don't care if you're in a heterosexual relationship and you take the wife's last name, but I think that you should have the same last name somehow. And I feel like I have an even more evolved opinion on this because when I first got married, I didn't change my last name for like a year and a half. So I lived with my maiden name and now I live with my married name. So there's 2 reasons I think that you and your partner should have the same last name. The first one is sheer practicality. Yes, it is a total pain to have to change your name. I went through it. I had to change the name on my like college records. Obviously, I had to go to the Social Security office to do it. That actually wasn't too bad, but it did take time to go do that. You got to get a new driver's license. That whole thing is a total pain. But I know for me, I have always been the one who just has the availability to make certain calls for my family to like set up doctor's appointments or talk to insurance or call about certain bills. And I felt like I always got questioned 10 times harder when I had a separate name than my husband's. Now that I have it, it's like people are like, oh, yep, same last name, you're probably the wife. We'll just ask some questions to just say that we asked them and we verified, but yeah, you guys are probably together and you probably have access to these accounts. I feel like it's so much different when I'm calling for something on behalf of my husband now that we share a last name. And then the second reason that I think you and your spouse should share the same last name is because in my experience, changing my last name made me feel like we were a family. You know, it's like we went from being two separate people to being the Haneys. And yes, we were married, we were a unit, it's fine. But for me, I just felt this shift. And maybe if my husband had been kind of badgering me to change my last name, I would feel different. I'd be like, oh, well, you want to get on my case about it? No, I'm never changing my last name. But I knew that it was something he valued and the way that he was raised. I don't want to like put his business out there, but he saw his parents go through many different relationships and different last name changes and half siblings and step siblings and all that. And so family, like a family unit, is so important to him. And so I knew it wasn't any sense of like, well, you should take my last name. It's just, this makes me feel like a family. And so I appreciate that that's where his desire to have the same last name came from. And for me, I always just assumed I would take the same last name. I didn't change it for a year and a half because I didn't want to have to do all those changes that I described earlier. But once I did it, I was really happy that I did. Next one. In this day and age, there is far too much focus on having all natural products. There just is. I swear to God, I went through like a mental spiral because I followed this girl on Instagram and she was talking about how Bath and Body Works candles are just absolutely toxic for you and you need natural candles. And so I went into this panic hole because I was like, oh my God, I have so many Bath and Body Works candles. Am I killing myself because I don't buy $50 natural candles and natural deodorant and natural toothpaste and natural makeup and natural cleaning products and organic cotton and organic tampons, and like going through this entire list. Like there's so many things that people say, you have to have it natural, you have to have it natural, you have to, or you're gonna get sick and die. And so I personally have arrived at a place where I'm at a balance of the natural products I use and the products that wouldn't be considered natural. For a while, you know, we heard about how bad fluoride was. And so I was like, okay, you know, let me try a natural toothpaste that doesn't have fluoride in it. You know, I'll still get fluoride when I go to the dentist, but on a daily basis, I don't want to be putting too much fluoride in my body. My teeth have never looked worse than when I was using a fluoride-free toothpaste. And at the end of the day, you don't hear about many people getting sick or having real health, like serious health repercussions for using fluoride toothpaste, so I made the switch. I got Tom's, which is still a more natural brand, but it has fluoride in it, and I feel like it's working. At the end of the day, like, natural products can be really great, and they can work just as well depending on what you're getting, and so I think, yes, be aware of what you're using, be aware of what you're putting in your body. Like, if you have expired makeup, throw it away, but you don't have to get bronzer made out of cocoa powder because it's more natural. You're still putting something on your face, and it's probably gonna clog your pores just as much as anything else would. So figure out what natural stuff you like, figure out what works for you. If you don't want anything natural, don't use anything natural. I feel like I feel better when I use certain natural products, and so that's what I do, but I'm also not super worried about everything because I would fall into a K-hole if I was. All right, now we are down to the final two. This one I feel may be the most unpopular opinion in my unpopular opinion video, but it is how I feel and it's what I stand by, so I gotta put it out there. I gotta say that this is who I am and this is the standard that I hold myself and others to. And that is that we as a society, especially on places like Twitter, need to be more aware of the fact and accepting of the fact that not everybody grew up knowing or learning the exact same things that you did. And so some people, through no fault of their own, were ignorant and maybe are still ignorant about a lot of things. And when we see somebody doing or saying something ignorant, as long as it's not coming from a hateful place, we need to be more aware of the fact that they might not know that what they're saying or what they're doing isn't okay. And I personally think we should come from a place of wanting to educate them so that way they can move forward. And when things like that happen, particularly with influencers, we should let them know, like, give them the information of, you said this and it's not okay and here's why, and see where they go with it. If they continue that ignorant behavior, that's one thing, but if going forward they don't make that same mistake again, or they don't say that ignorant thing again, I think it's okay to forgive them. And an example from my personal life is the fact that I have a brother who has special needs, and so in my household we never used the R word. We just didn't. It's a degrading word. It's used in a derogatory way, so we don't use it. And in high school, I had a group of friends who would say it really flippantly about anything. They'd be like, oh, that's R, or you're such a R, and they would just use it without giving it a second thought. And one day I brought it up to them and I said something, I don't know, I was like 14, so I said something along the lines of, like, it really makes me uncomfortable when you say that word because you know about my brother, like, he would technically be considered mentally R word. And so when you're saying that, like, it makes me uncomfortable and it hurts my feelings because you're saying that if something is stupid or dumb or wrong, it's R. And, like, that could be applied to my brother, so I just don't really like it. And immediately, without any pushback, they were like, wow, we didn't even think about it like that. And I could be remembering wrong, but if I'm remembering correctly, I don't think I ever heard any of those girls use that word again. It was just once they knew how it made me feel and how it could be perceived, they stopped using it. For me, I know plenty of people have other experiences, and sometimes ignorance runs a lot deeper than like a surface level thing. But I've seen people who have genuinely just been ignorant say things without meaning to be hateful, with like just thinking that it was a funny joke or it was a lighthearted comment or nobody was going to get hurt by what they said. And then once they were educated and once they heard that them saying those things or using that word hurt people's feelings or was, you know, considered rude or derogatory, they stopped. Like, they made an effort to change. And so obviously that's not the case with everybody. Some people are ignorant by their own choosing, or some people know that the things that they're saying or doing are wrong and continue to do it anyway. But I think especially when it comes to influencers, if we see things that they've done in the past or we hear about things they've said in the past and we know that they don't do that anymore, they don't talk like that anymore, obviously we don't know who they are at home, we don't know who they are behind closed doors, but you can only hide your true self for so long. So if we've seen them pretty frequently and pretty often and they haven't shown us that they're still using certain language or engaging in certain behaviors, it's okay to say, in my opinion, again, in my opinion, like I said, I know some things are a lot deeper than just this base level thing, but I think it's okay to say, you grew up with certain experiences, you didn't think this was a hateful thing to do. It is, like, you did it, and we've told you that this is not okay, and you've listened and learned, and now you're not doing it anymore, so it's probably okay to let you move on. Because that's the biggest part of it, is I want people to be able to move on once they've learned. Moving on to our last one. This is where I'm pretty much just gonna expose myself for being a trash human being. I hope you still like me afterwards. I will hardcore judge you if you do not have a recycling bin in your house, while at the same time full well knowing that I do have a recycling bin in my house, and sometimes when it gets full, instead of taking it out to the dumpster, I'll throw recyclable things in the trash. Or sometimes if I use up like a jar of peanut butter or a jar of pasta sauce and I don't feel like cleaning it out, I'll throw it away, even though I have a recycling bin. But I'm still gonna judge you if you don't have one, so look out for my eyes, like watching you like a hawk saying, oh, I guess I just don't care about the environment. That's a shame. That's so bad. And I know that it's bad. I know that, one, I shouldn't be judging anybody for the habits they have or the way that they live their life, but I am. And I also know that I'm being incredibly hypocritical when I say I'm going to judge you for not having a recycling bin while at the same time not recycling everything that I can. But I don't know, everybody has flaws, and that's one of my biggest ones, so I'm gonna wear it on my sleeve, put it all out there for you. Like I said, first video on the new channel, exposing myself. If you don't like me, if you can't move past it, now's the time to jump off the train, because I don't want to put a ton of effort into YouTube, build a big following, and then get canceled for being a hypocrite 4 years down the line. I'm making it known now. I try my best, but I am definitely a hypocrite when it comes to some things. So, gotta put it out there. Now that I have laid my flaws and my unpopular opinions in front of you, I need to know what your unpopular opinions are, what your cancelable traits are. Leave them in the comments down below, because like I said, I am going to compile them, put them together, and depending on how many there are, I might be able to include all of them, but if there's like a ton, I'll have to kind of like filter through and pick probably some of the most polarizing and some of the ones that I think are the funniest, and we're gonna talk about them and react to them in another video. So I am so excited to finally have my personal channel up and going. I am thrilled that you are here watching this, and I'm really looking forward to being able to engage with you guys more, share your opinions, share your stories. I have a few ideas for videos where I'm gonna want like a response from you guys before I even make it. I'm gonna put it out there, say, hey, if you've been through this, send me that, or if you have an opinion on this, send it to me, and I want to include them in the channel. Like, I just want you to feel like you're just as much a part of it as I am, even if I'm the one on camera. Because somebody said on the main channel that our Thursday live streams are kind of like a family meeting. And that really just stuck with me. Like, I loved hearing that. I loved hearing that people felt like this was a place where they have community and they enjoy being, and they see their friends and they like have made friends in the comment section of my videos. It makes me so happy. So I cannot wait to see where this channel goes. I can't wait to see who all ends up here from my main channel. If you like this video, please give it a like or share it with somebody, and if you would consider subscribing, that would be incredible. This is my first video, so you're probably not subscribed already, but if you are, thank you so much. I'm gonna steal my outro from my main channel because my brain is not complex enough to have 2 separate outros. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.